All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's live question and answer session. So, for anyone who is new here, we do these live question and answer sessions at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday. If you don't know what 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time is, it's the time that it is right now. And we also do live lessons at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. So today is Saturday, so we're doing just question and answer. But on Mondays, we have real lessons with topics that I have planned to help you improve your English. But both types help you improve your English. The difference is that on Monday, we have a real lesson, whereas on Saturdays, you ask me questions and I answer them. And just a reminder, these can be questions about anything you want. You can ask me about English, ask me about how to learn English, ask me about myself, ask me about my channel, whatever you want to ask me. And as always, before we begin, just a few very quick reminders. One is that I do now have an account on italki. So if you're interested in doing one-on-one speaking practice sessions with me on italki, you can now do that. And the link is in the description below this video. Also, if you'd like to get daily updates from me, hey, here's a new post I have. Hey, here's a new video I have. Hey, don't forget that we have a live lesson tomorrow. I highly recommend joining my Facebook Messenger channel. The link to this is in the description below this video as well. Also, for updates that you will get less often, only once a month, maybe twice a month, but usually just once a month. Sometimes not even once a month, sometimes once every 2 months. You can join my email newsletter. This is usually bigger announcements. Hey everyone, I'm changing the schedule for my live lessons. Hey everyone, these are the top 5 videos that I made this year. Something like this. You can join my email newsletter. The link to that is in the description below as well. Also, don't forget that for the rest of this month, my ebooks are still 30% off if you use the discount code August30 when checking out. The link to get my ebooks is in the description below as well. And a newer update is that you can now follow me on Spotify. So if you're interested in listening and you use Spotify, you can now find me there too. The link is in the description below. And finally, if you find this session interesting, useful, and you just want to say thanks, a great way to do that and help support my channel is by buying me a coffee. The link to that is in the description below, just like everything else is. So basically, after this video, after we finish the live session, if any of those things interest you, you can go to the description below this video and find the links. But now let's see who is here. I'm going to read some of the comments, just saying hi to everyone before we start doing some questions. All right, the first comment says, "Thank you, Teacher Mike. Before, my vocabulary words are few and I couldn't speak English, even a single sentence. But thank you, Sir Mike, because I can speak already, even though it's not totally fluent. Great, great. I'm glad to hear that you have been finding my content useful. I'm glad to hear that it has been helping you improve. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. And you don't need to call me Sir Mike. You can just call me Mike. Thank you. Rhea, glad to be here for the Q&A session today. I hope you truly have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you, Rhea. I'm glad to see you here as well, and I hope that you also have a wonderful day. Betty is here as normal. Welcome, Betty. Betty says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Betty. It's actually morning for me. For me, it's 10:30 a.m., but good afternoon to you. I want everyone to notice what Lydia did here. So Lydia said, greetings from Russia. Nice to see you, Lydia. So it would be very helpful if everyone could do something like this. Not right now, but I just mean when you comment, when you ask a question during the live, it would be really nice if after the question, you write your name and where you are from. For example, if I comment, I could write, what's the difference between will and going to? Mike from the United States. So when you write your questions, I want you to write the question and then write your name from country. Because often I see your name, but I don't know what to call you because Lydia's name, I can't read that. So she told me, my name is Lydia. That's very useful. That makes it easier for me to know what to call you and remember your name. And thank you, Lydia. I see English with teacher Fernanda is here. And you can also leave a comment and let me know. Should I call you Fernanda? Should I call you teacher Fernanda? Do you have a nickname? What would you like me to call you? Let me know. Because I always call you English with teacher Fernanda, but that does not feel very natural because it's not a human name. Ava is here. Hi, Mike. Greetings from a beach in Spain. So this one is different because she is not saying that she is from Spain. She is on vacation in Spain right now. All right, Ava, I hope you're having a good time. And if this gets boring, please leave and just go enjoy your time on the beach. Because I'm jealous that you are at a beach. I wish I was at a beach. And if I were, I guess also on the beach, I probably would not be watching an English video. But you love learning English, so that's great. Hello, Teacher Mike. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Very happy to see you. Oh, hi, Evelyn. I'm glad you are here. Good afternoon, my dear teacher. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, I see lots of people are here. I'm not going to read every comment because I'd like to start with our questions. I see Irena has recently become a YouTube member. Thank you, Irena. So that little circle next to her name, that means that she is a paying YouTube member and she helps to support my channel. So thank you. Thank you very much, Irena. All right, so let's start with some questions. I already see 2 questions and they're both pretty good, so let's start with those ones. First question is actually I'm not sure. So how I see 2 possible questions here because it says how I can't make my grammar better. So I'm not sure if you're asking why can't I improve my grammar? Or if you want to ask, how can I make my grammar better? Um, but that's okay because the two questions are very similar. So let's say that the question is, how can I improve my grammar? So there's two things. You have grammar when speaking and grammar when writing. And they're not always the same level. They can be a little bit different. Um, but basically, for grammar when writing, you want to read a lot. The more you read, the more you see correct grammar, the more correct grammar goes into your eyes and into your brain, the easier it will be for you to remember what is correct. So that's the number one thing you should do is spend more time reading anything, reading anything. Um, Next is spend time actively studying grammar. So watch videos about grammar, read grammar books, learn rules, learn why we say this versus why we say this. Um, so those are the two things I recommend for writing. Speaking, however, is a little bit different because I said learn some rules, learn the difference between this and this. However, when speaking, you don't have time to think about those things. When you're in a conversation, you don't want to stop and say, what's the rule? Oh, this and this, so then do this. No, you don't want to do that during a conversation. So, to improve your grammar when speaking, you mostly just want to listen. Spend a lot of time listening to English and repeating the things that you hear again and again so that you have whole phrases, whole sentences that you already know. That way, you're not always creating new sentences because creating new sentences is when you make grammar mistakes and when you have to stop and think more. But if you already know lots of sentences and you can just say them, use them without thinking about them, that is how you make fewer grammar mistakes by saying things that you know are correct because you have heard other people use them before. Um, but also doing the things that I talked about for writing. So, learning grammar rules, watching grammar videos, reading grammar textbooks, those things will also help you improve your spoken grammar, your grammar when speaking. But it's in the background. Like you want to study grammar at home. And the more you study it at home and practice it at home or in school, the more it will stay in your mind. But I don't want you to think about it when speaking. When speaking, just say what you think is correct. Try your best, but don't think too much because when you think too much, that interrupts your fluency. It makes it more difficult to speak naturally. It makes it more difficult to have a real conversation. So, yes, study grammar a lot at home if you want to, but when you're in the conversation, don't try to access that information. Don't try to think about what is the rule. Um, but if you study it at home, it will be in your mind more naturally when you need it in conversation. I don't know if that's 100% clear. I'm trying my best to explain it right now quickly without a plan for how I explain it. If you want a better explanation, I do have videos about this on my channel already. But yeah, good question. Can you help me so the question is, can you help me stop translating in my head? So before I speak, I always think in my first language, and then I translate it, and then I speak. So yeah, and this is another one where I already have a full detailed video about this on my YouTube channel. I also have a whole ebook about this. So if this is something you want a really detailed explanation for, I highly recommend buying my ebook about how to learn to think in English. Again, it's in the description below, and it is 30% off for the rest of this month. But basic answer, how do you stop translating? So the number one thing that you need to do to stop translating. Actually, I'm not going to say number 1 because different people need different things, different people have different problems, but here are a few of the main things that I recommend. Number 1 is that when you start translating in your head, just tell yourself, "No, no, no, stop, stop, stop. I don't want to do this. Stop translating. Just say the thing that you want to say." And most of the time, you already have the English in here, and there's no reason for you to translate. You don't need to do it. You're just doing it because it's a habit that you have developed. So, for many of you who translate in your head, one of the main things that you need to do is just tell yourself to stop. When you feel yourself translating, just say, "No, no, no, stop, stop, stop. Just think the English. I," that. And that sounds simple, but it can actually be pretty difficult, but you can do it if you practice. Um, the other thing is that, again, you need to learn full sentences. Like, learn some things that people really say in different situations, because you don't want to think. The problem is that you're thinking, "Okay, in my native language, what do I say in this situation? Okay, that's what I say. How do I translate that to English? This." And that's the problem. You don't want to think about what do you say in your first language. You just need to know, in this situation, what would a native English speaker say? So you need to spend more time listening, watching TV, reading, and paying attention to the things that native speakers actually say. Write them down and practice saying them again and again and again and again in your free time and in real situations. So those are some of the main things that I recommend. But for more steps and a lot more detail, I highly recommend my ebook, How to Learn to Think in English, which is in the description below. Good question. Okay, Fernanda. Okay, I will call you Fernanda. Okay. Please explain these abbreviations: ASAP and RSVP, and many more. Right now, I will explain those two. Miley from El Salvador. I'm not sure if it's Miley or Millie. To me, it looks like Miley. Um, so ASAP means as soon as possible, which basically means don't wait. If you can do it now, do it now. If you have to wait 5 minutes, wait 5 minutes, but then do it. Do it quickly. Do it soon as possible. Um, RSVP, I believe, is French, and I don't remember what that actually stands for because we don't say the French when speaking English. In English, we just say RSVP, which basically means confirm whether or not you are coming to this event. So when you send an invitation for a wedding, you tell everyone on the invitation, please RSVP by this date. Means by this date, you need to tell me whether or not you are coming so that I can make arrangements. So yeah, RSVP basically means confirm whether or not you are coming. Another example. Hey, do you know if she's coming to the wedding? No, I don't because she hasn't RSVP'd yet. I'm still waiting for her to RSVP. Good question. How do you regard the practical grammar book written by Michael Swan? Um, I think that's yeah, that is the only grammar book that I own. Um, so I have that book right here. Um, it's a good one. It's a good one because it's strict enough, but it's not too strict. So it tells you, hey, people say this. Like 200 years ago, it was different, but that's okay because this is what we do now. So the grammar rules that they give you in it are actually useful and real and about how people speak now. It is an excellent book. When I watch your videos, I understand 99%, but when I watch TV shows or movies, I understand very little. It seems like they're murmuring. Did this happen to you when you were learning Thai? So yeah, Thai is my second language. Um, this did not really happen to me when learning Thai because I started listening to native speakers immediately. The problem for many of you learning English is that you mostly listen to things that you can understand easily when you should be listening to everything. Yes, when you're trying to learn from a teacher, the teacher speaking clearly and slowly is good. It's going to be helpful. It's going to help you understand them. But if you want to understand native speakers when they speak quickly, you need to spend more time listening to native speakers speaking quickly, even if it's difficult. Um, so for me, I rarely have difficulty with Thai people speaking naturally. Um, the only problem I have is if someone speaks super fast, like faster than most native speakers. Um, because if you have heard something pronounced naturally just 50 times, the next time you hear it, you shouldn't have difficulty with it. Like if you hear people say, where are you going? 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 If you've heard that 50 times before, it doesn't matter how fast someone says it in the future. You're going to understand it because you know what it sounds like, even when they say it a little bit faster. Um, so that's the main thing is that you just need to spend more time listening. That's it. And I do also have at least one or two videos specifically about how to improve your listening on my channel. So if you go to my How to Improve Your English channel, you can find those videos there. They'll give you more details that will help you. Do you think technology is making language learning easier or harder? Definitely easier. Um, when I started learning Thai, there were no YouTube Thai teachers. Um, there were no Thai Facebook groups. Um, you all have so many resources for learning English. You've got thousands, I think thousands of YouTube channels, podcasts. Just the internet is crazy. There's so much stuff that we didn't have in the past. Right now, learning language is easier than it has ever been, especially if you use things like AI. I'm not a big fan of AI. I don't want to promote AI, but yes, it can be an excellent tool for language learning, finding out what native speakers really say, asking questions, asking it to check your grammar, things like this. So yeah, right now technology is definitely making language learning a lot easier. Even if you don't use the technology, but you just use it to connect with other people. It's so easy to find people to practice with right now because you have the internet. You have access to people all over the world. You have access to everyone. Yeah, so easy. Could you make more videos about daily routine or something like that? It's very practical. Yes, I can. I can definitely make more videos about my daily routine in the future. Highly recommend versus strongly recommend. Is there any difference? Um, I don't think so. Um, strongly recommend. I highly recommend. I strongly recommend. So I think that they mean exactly the same thing, but to me personally, this might just be how I feel them, but they do feel a little bit different. Highly is more about like the level. Like I think it's really good. Whereas strongly feels a little bit more like I want you to do this. Um, but I'm not sure if that's real or if that's just how I interpret them. But yeah, basically they mean the same thing. When you speak to someone who is not a native speaker, do you correct their mistakes? Guerma from Algeria. Um, so most of the time, no, because telling someone that they said something wrong is rude. Um, at least in most to most English speakers, telling someone that their grammar is wrong is rude, and it makes you look like a bad person. Like, why are you correcting me? It's not a nice thing to do. Um, but it is a little bit different because I am a teacher. Um, and so if someone knows that I am a teacher and I know that they are working really hard to improve their English, there are some situations where I will give them feedback. Um, but I'd usually say something like, "Hey, so is it okay if I say one thing about your English?" Maybe something like that. Or, "Hey, your English is obviously really good, and you've obviously worked really hard to get your English to the level that it's at now. And I noticed one really small thing that you said. Can I give you feedback about that?" And then if they say yes, then I might correct them. But most of the time, no, I would not correct someone who makes a mistake. Um, I do sometimes correct my native English speaker friends just because they know that I'm a teacher. So if someone says, please lay down, I might say, you know that it's lie down, not lay down, right? And it's more like a joke because I'm a teacher, um, and it's with my friends. But one thing though that I do um, is if someone says something wrong and I have the opportunity naturally in the conversation to say it the correct way so that they can hear it the correct way without me telling them that they said something wrong, then I do that. So if someone says, "Hey, do you know where the fountain water is?" I might say, "Oh yeah, the water fountain is over there." So it's not obviously correcting them, but it's just showing them, oh, fountain water, water fountain. This is an interesting question. Do you believe some people have a greater ability or have a gift for learning other languages? So I don't know what the research says about this. So I don't want to say something that's completely the opposite of the research. Um, but here's what I want to say about the question. There are a lot of people who people say things like, "Oh, he's really good at learning languages." And often, no, he just worked a lot harder than other people. Or no, she just spent a lot of time listening and other people didn't spend a lot of time listening. Or she is just really good at studying. She understands how to study things. So that helped her learn the language. But without knowing what the research says, my answer would basically be no. But there are skills and habits that definitely help people. But I don't think it's a magic language thing. I think it's a skill that they have that they can use for anything that they do. They could use that skill or those habits for basketball or math, but they just use it for language. Um, Another thing I want to say about this is that it's a good question. It's a good question. But I don't like how much people focus on this. They say things like, oh, she's just good at learning language. It's not fair. And it minimizes all of the hard work that she did. And it also gives you an excuse to say, I'm not going to try so hard because I'll never be as good as she is. Why do you want to think that way? Everyone, everyone who wants to improve should work as hard as they can and not compare themselves to other people. So saying things like, other people can do it easier, that doesn't help you. The only thing that helps you is doing more, working harder, continuing, not giving up. But yeah, good question. I'm not at all saying that I don't like your question or it's a bad question. I just want to let you know how I feel when I hear this question all the time, often from people who are complaining. Sometimes the situation forces me to say something I haven't practiced before. Then, in that situation, I try to translate it from my native language and it's not always correct. What should I do in such a situation? Good question, Ava. Good question. Um, so yeah, generally you want to practice using phrases and sentences that you think you will need in real situations. But sometimes you get to a real situation and you just have no idea what to say. Um, so instead of translating, I would just think about What language do you have? Even if it's not exactly what you want to say, try to say something in English. Um, this is a difficult one to explain. Um, so, but the main thing would be, I don't want you to think about what you would say in your native language, because often the thing that you would say in your native language culturally doesn't make sense to say in an English speaking situation. Um, for example, just a kind of weird example, but in Thailand, they often greet each other with um, "Gin khao ri which basically means "Have you eaten yet?" or "Have you eaten rice yet?" They use that like how we use "What's up?" or "How are you doing?" or "How have you been?" Um, so if you think, "Okay, that's what I say in my language," so then in English, I'm gonna say, "Have you eaten yet?" And the language is correct, but it doesn't make sense to say that because in English, that is not a greeting. That's like an invitation. "Hey, let's go have lunch together. Have you eaten yet?" Um, so in most situations, I don't want you to try to translate anything. I just want you to say something in English, even if it's not perfect. Um, I'm having a difficult time answering this question because I kind of need to know, what is the other person saying to you? What are they asking you? What are you having difficulty with? Um, but I would 99% of the time try not to translate anything. 99% of the time, try your best to avoid your first language. Um, Mostly because it's just a bad habit. The more you translate now, the more you're going to translate in the future. You always want to try to stop translating. Um, but yeah, in some situations, like 1% of the time, yeah, go ahead, translate, especially if it's just one word or two words or something. But when you need to give a full idea, it generally doesn't work that well. Just try your best to think about, what does this person want me to say? What information are they asking me for? How can I give it to them in a very simple way using the language that I have, even if it's not 100% correct? Um, so it's generally better to try your best to use English and make some mistakes than it is to try to translate. I'm sorry, it's not a great answer, but good question though. Where are you off to? Means where are you going, right? Yes, yes. Where are you off to is an informal way of of asking someone where they are going when you see them leaving. You see someone leaving right now, you might ask, "Hey, where are you off to?" Yeah. Mhm. What is the difference between by Wednesday and on Wednesday? Not a native speaker here. Okay, and no one is a native speaker here except for me. I am a native speaker. But all the other people watching this, they are also not native speakers. So don't worry. And good question. So on Wednesday means this is Wednesday. On Wednesday. Wednesday, not Tuesday, not Thursday. Wednesday. On Wednesday. For example, we always do this live question and answer session on Saturday. We never do it on Sunday. We never do it on Monday. We never do it on Friday. It's always on Saturday. By means on or before. For example, if your boss says, I need you to send me the report on Friday, that means they want it on Friday. But if your boss says, I want you to send me the report by Friday, that means Friday is the latest that I want it. But if you can get it to me on Thursday, that would also be good. If you could get it to me by Wednesday, even earlier, that would be excellent. Or if you could get it to me by tomorrow, tomorrow would be even better. But Friday is the latest that I want it. Um, so basically, by means on or before. Um, Another example, let's not use on, but let's use at for time. Um, so these live question and answer sessions are usually about 1 hour. Um, so today, I'm not 100% sure what time we will finish, but I definitely want to finish by 11:45. So we might finish at 11:30, we might finish at 11:40, we might finish at 11:45, but I don't want to go longer than 11:45. I don't want to continue until 11:50 or noon. That is too long. So yeah, that's how we use it. Good question, and I hope that helped. It might be a personal question, but would you mind indicating which languages sound beautiful to you? Um, I don't know. I think that Thai is a beautiful language. It's a tonal language, so the tones are very and it's often very soft and sounds very nice and a bit more calm and polite a lot of the time. So I would say that Thai is one. Um, I don't I don't know. I'll say that one that I don't think is beautiful is English. So people often comment things like English is such a beautiful language. And I find it really weird because I think that English sounds very like blah, gah, 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 gah. I don't think English sounds beautiful. Um, when I hear people speaking Dutch, um, I think that sounds a lot like English to me, except I don't understand it. And I think, wow, this must be how English sounds to a non English speaker. And I really don't think it sounds nice. Um, so yeah, I don't have any strong opinions about which languages sound more beautiful, but I do not think that English is one. I think that English sounds less beautiful than most languages. A little while ago, we talked about highly recommend and strongly recommend. Fernanda says strongly sounds more bossy. Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it, but I'm not sure if that's like really true or if that's just how you and I feel about it. Betty asked, "What's the difference between going and gonna?" So going is a word. Gonna is not a word. Gonna is just how we pronounce going to when speaking quickly. So I'm going to call him. Speaking more naturally and quicker, it would be I'm going to call him. but it's still the same thing. In writing, it's always going to. We do not write gonna unless you are like a teenager or sending a text message to a friend or something. But in real formal writing, in an email, in a letter, in a report, gonna does not exist. It's always going to. Gonna is just the pronunciation of going to when speaking quickly. This is a difficult question that I'm not going to be able to answer perfectly right now because it's complicated and I'm not prepared to answer this. But basically, in some situations, you can use either one. In some situations, you can say though, or you can say although. But in other situations, we use them differently. That's the basic answer. And I have a full video about the word though. If you are interested, you can go to my channel and just type in though, and it will show you that video. Guerma has a really good question. How can I know if a compound word should be written as one word or two words? For example, car park and earring. Car park is two words, but earring is one word. How do I know? Um, so I don't think that there is a rule for this. Or if there is a rule, it doesn't work 100% of the time. Um, Also, these things are sometimes different depending on which style guide you are using or which country you are in. Um, so, usually, when I'm not sure, I just Google it. So, I would go on Google. Is car park one word or two? Um, you have time to do that because you are writing. In speaking, it doesn't matter because you're speaking. There's no one word, two words. It's always pronounced the same. Car park, earring, earring. Um, so yeah, I don't know if there is a rule. I just look it up when I'm not sure. Where can I buy your ebook? Please give me the link to get it. The link to get my ebook is in the description below this video. Again, there are 3 ebooks. They are all in the link below this video. Ooh, here's another good question. I like this from Sunanta Fonkeo. Is it really necessary to pronounce the word the as the when the word begins with a vowel? I feel I hear you pronouncing the many times. Okay, so this is a thing that many people are confused about because lots of teachers teach this wrong. Lots of teachers teach that there is a rule that says if your word starts with a vowel sound, you need to say the. For example, the elephant, the apple, the American, the onion. And if the word starts with a consonant sound, you need to pronounce the as the dog, the cat, the chair, the table, the pan. And this is not true. This is not a rule. This is just something that many people do naturally because of how the sounds link together. It feels easier for them. The apple, For some people, it feels more natural to have E before a vowel sound. E-apple, E-elephant, E-onion, because they can connect them very easily. There's even a little Y sound. E, E-onion, E-apple, E, whatever. But that's just something that people do because it feels natural. For me, the feels more natural 90% of the time. So I almost always say the, even when there is a vowel sound. The onion, the apple. For me, that feels natural. To me, saying the sounds very serious and formal, and it doesn't feel natural to me. It doesn't feel human to me in a lot of situations. So, no, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's good to know that lots of people do that, but you don't need to do that. And it varies by region and area. So, in some places, people will do that more. In some places, people do that less. Excellent question. What's the difference between wanna and want to? So again, this is like gonna and going to. Wanna is not a word. Wanna is just how we pronounce want to when we are not speaking clearly. But it's not something that you write. And it's not something that you try to say. You don't say like wanna. It happens because you're not speaking clearly. Wanna when you're saying want to. I want to go shopping. I want to go shopping. It's not a word, it's just the pronunciation. Does American English change according to the states in the USA? Yeah. So even within each state, there are many different accents. Um, so a person from Southern Maryland speaks different than a person from Baltimore, Maryland. A person from Washington, D.C. speaks differently from a person from Baltimore, just 40 minutes away. Yeah, yeah, there are hundreds of different accents, probably thousands. I don't know, thousands. Let's say hundreds of different accents in the United States. And yet each state is also a little bit different, but also inside each state, there are also different accents. Um, but the biggest differences are usually not states, but just regions. So people in the Northeast speak more like this. People in the South speak more like this. People on the West Coast speak more like this, but that's very general. To get more specific, yes, each state and each city also have different accents. Is it good to note down some phrases while watching your videos? Yes, it's not just good, it's important. Everyone should be doing that when watching my videos. Everyone who watches my videos should write down the things that they learn. You can write them down in your notebook, you can type them on your computer, or you can write a comment. When you write a comment, I can see it, and often I will help you with your sentence to make sure you're using it correctly. Yes. And I'm going to do maybe 2 or 3 more questions before we stop for today. Um, But while I'm waiting for a few more questions, I do want to remind everyone, if you are interested in booking one-on-one speaking sessions with me, you can now do that on italki, and the link to do that is in the description below this video. Also, please don't forget that if you're finding this live session useful and interesting and you'd like to say thank you, an excellent way to do that is by buying me a coffee. The link to do that is under this video as well. But let's see if we have more questions. I know I missed some, but it's difficult for me to go back up and read all of them. So if anyone has one or two more questions, please send them and I will read them. I'm looking to see some that I missed. We've got a lot of comments today. Thank you, everyone, for participating. This is a good question. How do you practice speaking with someone? Do you choose a topic in advance? Um, so, this is a really good question, and it shows me that Guerma understands what speaking practice is. Um, Speaking practice is not just go have a conversation with a native speaker. That's not really practicing. It is, but it's not the most important thing for actually improving and memorizing and improving your confidence. Really, what you want to do is what you do in a classroom with a teacher. When you're in a classroom with a teacher, the teacher says, okay, I have taught you some language. Now you are going to practice using that language together. You're going to have this conversation one time, then you're going to switch. Now you are this person, now you are this person. Okay, now do it again. Okay, now you've done it two times. You're getting very confident. Now I would like you to stand in front of the class and do the conversation for everyone to watch and listen to. That's not how it always works in the classroom, but that is what I like to do because it makes sure that you're repeating the phrases over and over again, each time becoming more and more confident. So, um, how do you practice speaking with someone? Um, do you choose a topic in advance? If your goal is to become more confident in a specific situation, then yes, choose a topic in advance. Um, so if you say, I know that I'm going to a restaurant next week and I am not confident speaking in a restaurant, what you do is you and your friend maybe write a conversation together. I think that the first thing we say is this. Okay, let's do that. Okay, and I think the next thing that we say is this. Okay, write that. So you write it down and then the whole conversation. Person A says this, person B says this, person A says this, person B says this. Then you practice it. I'm person A, you're person B. Let's read the sentences together. This time we can look at them while we say them. Okay, that was okay. Now let's try to do it without looking at the sentences. But if you forget, you can check. And then the final time that you do it, you try to do it without the sentences at all. And if you make some mistakes, that's okay. But yeah, basically, you want if there's a situation that you're not confident in, you want to role play that situation. And you're creating your own sentences in the beginning. They might not be 100% correct, but if both people understand them, a native speaker is probably also going to understand them, so it's probably good enough. Um, so yeah, if your goal is to improve in one situation, yeah, use that situation as the topic for the conversation. Um, if you just want to chat a little bit for fluency and confidence, then no, you don't need to choose a topic. But if you know that there's specific situations that you have difficulty in, yes, you definitely want to focus on that topic by choosing that topic as the thing that you are using. Why is it difficult to make certain sounds in English? Let's say two reasons. Reason one is that you don't have those sounds in your language. It's just like how sounds in your language might be difficult for me to make. If we haven't done it before, it's going to be difficult because we haven't learned it yet. Um, Reason number two could be that you have a speech issue. Some people have difficulty with specific sounds, and that's just the way that they are. For example, when I was a little kid, I had difficulty making the R sound. Some people that continues even as they are older. But mostly just because they're new sounds that you haven't made before, and you're an adult. Learning things like this as an adult can be difficult. If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would you choose? So I'm going to give you a kind of boring answer because the only place that I have spent a lot of time is Thailand because I lived in Thailand for 10 years. My wife is from Thailand, her family lives there. So if I could live anywhere for 1 year, I would live in Thailand. Um, I'm not going to say a different country. I'm not going to say Egypt or Vietnam or France or anything like that because I haven't been to those countries before. And what if I go there and I find out that I don't like it? Then I'm stuck there for 1 year. So my easy answer is Thailand. Let's do one more question. Final question. What is the fastest way to improve your speaking aside from describing your day? So it kind of depends what your speaking level is now. If you have other people to speak to, and just what you like to do. But the number one thing is just spend more time speaking. Um, Aside from describing your day. So the reason that I often talk about describing your day is that it's easy because you don't need to use your imagination. You just think, what did I do today? Today I did this. Talk about it. What am I going to do tomorrow? Future. Talk about it. You don't need to create any new ideas. You don't need to imagine anything. It's all real. And because it's real, it also makes it feel more emotional and easier to remember long term. So that's why I recommend talking about your day so often. However, it doesn't need to be about your day. If you have a person who you can chat with in real life, just spend a lot of time chatting with them. And when there are words that you don't know that you need, look them up. Really, it's not that your day is magic or something like that, magical. It's just that it's an easy topic to talk about. But the goal is just spend more time talking. Spend as much time talking as possible. Also, spend as much time listening as possible. So if it's not about your day, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Talk about cars, talk about dogs, talk about people. But another really good thing about your day is that it includes all of those things. Because when you talk about your day, you might also need to talk about cars. You might also need to talk about your dog. You might also need to talk about food because it's about your real life and things that you will actually use in conversation. Um, so, yeah, just spend more time talking. Spend more time talking. And it can be with another person if you have another person. It can be by yourself if you're by yourself. the best thing to do is combine those. Very, very focused speaking practice by yourself. I know I have difficulty with this sentence, so today I'm going to spend 5 minutes trying to say it more naturally. Then I just want to build confidence in conversation with other people, so I'm also going to go chat with my friend for 20 minutes. So the best thing to do is both. Sometime by yourself, sometimes with other people. This is also why when I wrote my first ebook, I titled it How to Practice Speaking by Yourself and Why Everyone Should Do It. Because even if you use English in your daily life, even if you have friends who you can chat with in English, you should still practice by yourself, because practicing by yourself is where you really have the opportunity to fix your mistakes and correct things by noticing, oh, I didn't really say that right. Let me try it 10 more times. You can't do that in a real conversation. So I guess that's my advice here is spend as much time speaking as possible every day, some with other people, and definitely also some by yourself. Yeah, good question. But also don't worry about fast. Um, you don't want to compare yourself to other people. You don't want to say, oh, he learned English in just 5 years. That's not fair. I'm still on year 6 and I feel like I'm slow. Well, that person had resources and opportunities that you didn't have. Don't compare yourself to them. Don't rush. Um, well, you can rush, but don't put mental pressure on yourself. Just do as much as you can every day, but don't compare yourself to other people. But yeah, that is all for today. I'm just gonna read a few more of the comments from people. I've seen some people saying thank you. I see Valdir says thank you for the lesson and for your time. You're very welcome, Valdir. See Betty also. Thank you, Teacher Mike. Thank you, Betty, and thank you for your questions and your participation. I see Irena, thanks a lot, Mike, for a really valuable lesson with a lot of useful explanations and advice. You're very welcome, and thanks again for becoming a member on YouTube, Irena. Jessica Wong, have a great weekend, Teacher Mike. Thank you, Jessica. You too. Thank you, dear teacher. You're welcome. And yeah, just a reminder, if you found this video useful, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget that a great way to say thank you is by buying me a coffee. The link to do that is in the description below. And also don't forget that my ebooks about how to practice speaking by yourself, how to learn to think in English and stop translating, and my third ebook about how to really improve your English every day are all at the link in the description below, and they're all 30% off. There's a 30% discount until the end of this month if you use the discount code August30. And please don't forget, if you want updates every day, hey, don't forget we have a live lesson in 12 hours. Hey, don't forget we have a live lesson in 10 minutes. Hey, here's what next week's live lesson is going to be about. Hey, here's a link to a new video I posted. If you want these updates in Facebook Messenger, you can do that by going to the link in the description below that says join my Facebook Messenger channel. It might actually say Facebook broadcast channel. Broadcast channel is just what Facebook calls their messenger channels. And yeah, don't forget that we do this every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. But we also have live lessons with a specific topic at 2 p.m. Eastern time every Monday. But yeah, that is all for today. Thank you all very much for your questions and your participation. It has been a pleasure reading your comments, and I will see you again soon.